with the piss poor performance that the Packers have put on for 7 weeks of the season, do you think they have any chance, even a sliver of a chance, to beat Buffalo in Buffalo?
No. I'm just going to be flat out honest. No. The Bills are probably going to run away with this game. Simply just because, let's face it, when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense this year, it's been kind of shameful. And it's just because of the chemistry issues that I've seen between Aaron Rodgers and the young receivers. I mean, Kev, we were talking about the Packers game last week, and we were talking about how Aaron Jones is the most targeted receiver out of the entire bunch of what the Packers field for a wide receiving core. Aaron Jones is a running back. And you could probably say the next closest person is Allen Lazard, simply just because Allen Lazard has been there for the last couple of years. But outside of that, when it comes to Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, we can't even say Randall Cobb in there anymore because he suffered an ankle injury and he's going to be out potentially for the rest of the year, or he's going to come back probably in the later stages of December. But this offense just cannot get things together. It's kind of very similar to what we've seen with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, just because they just can't get anything consistently on the offensive side of the ball. And I have to give credit to the Packers defense because the Packers defense has been able to keep them in these games. But when it comes to their offense, they start out pretty decent in the first half, but when it comes to the second half adjustments, they just cannot get anything on third down. And they end up punting the ball back to the other team, and the team they're going up against goes on a run, and the Packers just can't match it, or they just can't get back into a rhythm. And, it is kind of sad to see just because Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in NFL history. But you can only do so much when the pieces around you are not doing their jobs as effectively as they should. And you tie that in with the fact that Aaron Rodgers has been a little bit more turnover prone this year than in years past. He's getting pressured more constantly. It just seems to be a revolving door of issues related to this team, and they're going to have to find a way to snap out of it, but I do not think it's going to be this week. The Bills are too good of a team. The Bills are coming off of a game against the Chiefs where, in arguably probably the biggest game of the year, they go on the road to Arrowhead and pull out a dub. Granted, it was a very close game. They won that game by, I believe, 4 points. But overall, I think the Bills have a very good chance to put up 30, 35 points in this game. And knowing what their defense can do, I think that they can limit Aaron Rodgers and that Packers offense to under 20 points. So, to me, I think this is going to be a runaway of a game. This is a Sunday night game. It's going to be a primetime game. Everybody's eyes are going to be glued on their TVs here. But I think it's going to be just an absolute annihilation by the Bills. I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Allen goes for 300 yards passing and has 3 touchdowns. And Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis and Dawson Knox. I mean, these guys have been big this year so far. I mean, all 3 of them respectively had huge moments in that Chiefs game. And there's a very good chance that they could replicate a very similar performance against the Packers, just because I think the Packers are going to be on their heels just because the offense isn't going to be able to move against that Bills defense. So, I want this game to be competitive. I want it to be a fun one to watch, an entertaining game to watch. But I think the Bills are going to smash them here. If I had to say, I'm going to say the Bills win this one like 34-17. I think this is going to be a 3-possession dub for the Bills. The Bills would probably jump up to a 6-1 record. The Packers would be on a 4-game losing streak. They'd be at a 3-5 record. And at this point in the season, you're 8 weeks in, you're at a 3-5 record. You got to contend with the Vikings, who are currently sitting at a 5-1 record. I don't think they're going to be able to catch up unless they really turn things around in the second half of the year, which at this point is really kind of hard to see. I think the Packers are screwed here. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks ever, but I don't think he's going to be able to pull him out of this one. So, when it comes to this game, I got the Bills all day in this one. This is going to be a runaway of a game.
I got nothing to add to that. The fact that this game is nationally televised is absolutely embarrassing. The schedule has been atrocious this year in multiple facets, not just on Thursday night, but some primetime games have been pretty bad. I know it's obviously planned out prior to the season based off of expectations. You see Aaron versus Josh Allen, and you gotta put it on TV. But this is when you have to leverage that NFL power and shift some games. If you were to put the Giants and the Seahawks game at night, I feel like that would have been a lot cooler. I know it's a lot easier said than done. I know it's not necessarily possible. We've seen games get flexed later in the season because of relevancy, like playoff games and stuff. But, I know it's not necessarily something that can happen. But anyway, back to the analysis of the game. You have a team that's struggling on third down versus the league's best defense. You have one of the most high-powered offenses going up against a middle-of-the-pack defense. You have a mediocre running game in terms of Green Bay's rush game going up against one of the most stout rush defenses in the league. You stop me when I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Rodgers has been turning the ball over in impromptu times throughout the rest of the season. And you're looking at it saying the Buffalo Bills know how to get the ball away from quarterbacks in the most important times. I mean, Patrick Mahomes throws an interception to a diving corner in the fourth quarter to seal them the game last week, or 2 weeks ago, should I say. There is nothing this Buffalo team can't do. They're good on special teams. They capitalize on the defensive end. They know how to get to the quarterback. They know how to cover. And the best part about this is some of their defense still isn't healthy. Obviously, you have Micah Hyde out for the year. Poyer's been hurt. Tre'Davious White has been hurt. They're not even at full capacity. The offensive line has been hurt. Just wait. This Buffalo team is getting acclimated, getting their legs underneath them, and some would say they might be the best team in football, and I'm one of those people. But when they start to get those injured players back, some of those key star playmakers, this team is going to run away with the league more than they already have. This game's in Buffalo, prime time. Josh Allen cannot be stopped. The defense is going to absolutely swarm and smother Aaron Rodgers. I think this game, I agree with Kyle, it's not going to be close, and I think this game is going to be 100% a rout. If this goes upwards of 35 to 40 points, I wouldn't be surprised, like Kyle said, if the Packers don't even scrummage up 20. So Buffalo all day. They move on to 6-1, and Green Bay continues to fall. Both old quarterbacks in the league just look to be on some crappy teams at crappy points in their careers. But I will say, Aaron Rodgers did this to himself. When you hold a team hostage for $50 million a year, knowing that your number one priority should have been, let me take a pay cut so that Devontae Adams can come back, it's not a good look for you, bro. You knew this was going to happen. So I don't want to hear you complaining. I don't really care what you have to say. We know that you have the talent. We know that your resume speaks for itself. But in terms of greed, this is on you, dude. Tom Brady came back knowing that this team was going to come back together. It's unfortunate that injuries ended up plaguing them to what they are right now on the offensive line. But other than that, Tom had a better situation in Tampa. Tom had better personnel, obviously. So the fact that they're struggling is kind of worse. But with Aaron Rodgers, when you literally, like I said a couple seconds ago, hold a team hostage, I'm going to retire if you don't pay me. I want to trade if you don't pay me. You threw a hissy fit. You have your money. You play on a shit team. Congratulations. Bills are going to smoke you on prime time, and you guys are going to drop to 3-5, and the Vikings are going to run away with the division. I know some people said in our comments on social media, RELAX, like he said a couple years ago, relax, and they came back and ended up winning the division. That's not the case this year. They don't have the team that they had that year. They don't have the offense that they had that year. Aaron Rodgers isn't as poised as he was back in the day. I have no faith in Green Bay. I think this game is going to be kind of a snooze fest for any Green Bay fans. I wouldn't even watch it. Move on to the next week and see if you can come back. Because this game, it ain't it, bro.